Hello, BFST3. You're welcome to another unit, and this time we are going to look at the controlling function of a manager. Like we all know, if all employees knew what to do, there would be no need of controlling or managing them. But sometimes people are unwilling to act in regards to the organization's best interest, and therefore a set of controls must be implemented to guard against undesirable behavior and to encourage desirable actions of employees. And therefore, controlling can be defined as a set of management functions that help seek planned results from employees or subordinates. So this will help in measuring progress towards the organization goals and to bring any deviations that might exist for a corrective action. So it involves verifying whether everything occurs in conformity with the plans adopted at the planning phase, instructions issued, and principles established. We have different types of control. We have what we call the feedback control. Feedback is like a check after the process has it's a check after the process has been finished or after a process has concluded. So it involves collecting information about a finished task or assessing that information and improving the same type of tasks in the future is in check. So that is feedback. Then we have what we call concurrent control. Concurrent is a real time. So as a project is being executed, you come in to check if there is any problem and then examine to take action before any loss is incurred. Then the other one is the predictive or the forward control from forward. So as a manager, you anticipate or foresee a problem and come up with a solution to control the problem at that level. Then we have what we call behavioral control. So here we look at managing employee decision making or employee behavior. And controlling is advantageous because it saves time. Um, when you control, uh, you minimize errors. So in so doing, you're saving time on what would have been repeated. Then it allows managers to concentrate on important tasks because everyone is in check of what is expected out of them. Then it helps in timely corrective action. So in case a mistake was going to be done, when you come in to check, you kind of come up with a solution at that level, and it also enables delegation. However, controlling is constrained by other external factors that sometimes, as a manager, you may have no control over. So that leads us to the Six Sigma. So from our statistics, remember sigma means is a Greek letter that means deviation. So in this, we are going to basically be looking at how deviated the company might be from what it should be. In other words, the processes of the company, how deviated are they from what is the anticipated process. So it is a set of management tools and techniques designed to improve business by reducing the likelihood of error. So it looks at eliminating defects or errors. And it has six sigmas where we look at 3 above and 3 below the mean. So the defects are classified as extremely low because you look at it is like a benchmark process. So you look at what it should be and what it is. So the concept has a simple goal of delivering near perfect or perfect goods and services for business transformation that lead to customer satisfaction. So this is achieved through a two-pronged approach, whereby the first one is identification of the problem, and this we look at where does a function deviate from what it should be and what it is. And then still under that, you look at uh, what is important enough that needs to be corrected. Then the other approach is solving the problem, where you look at the changing state of the function from what it is to what it should be, and then ensure that change is implemented for achieving the desired goal. So when using the Six Sigma, there are 5 key underlying principles. And the first principle is to always focus on the customer. Like I mentioned before, the customer is the king of any business or any firm. So the primary goal is to bring maximum benefit or maximum satisfaction to a consumer. Then the other principle is measure the value stream and find your problem. Uh, we have what we call a value chain. So from the state of getting your raw materials, if you're into production, to the consumer, you're supposed to map all the steps so that you determine areas that need attention for you to be able to determine areas of waste. And therefore, in so doing, you gather data to discover specific problems that needs to be or that need to be addressed or transformed. Then get rid of the junk. So after you've mapped, you're able to identify the problem and make changes to eliminate it at that level. The other principle is keep the ball rolling. So once you've identified the problem and you've worked on it, involve all stakeholders, make them aware of what the problem was, and encourage them to come in and act collectively to get a solution. Then ensure a flexible and responsive ecosystem. We work with different dynamics of people. We work in a diverse environment. So therefore, people should be flexible enough. If there are changes made from the previous principle, if you've identified a problem and probably there is a change in the way work has to be done, you should encourage your subordinates to be flexible enough and move on with a new change. Then this is the Six Sigma methodology. It uses two main methodologies, where the first one is you defining a problem, measuring the different actions that needs to be done, analyzing, improving, and then controlling the situation. So that is methodology 1. So you can either adapt that, or you start with defining, you measure, you analyze, design, and verify. So each of these two methodologies is recommended to be implemented if you want your business to transform. So the define, measure, analyze, improve, and control methodology is a data-driven method, and it is used to improve existing products for a better customer satisfaction. While the define, measure, analyze, design, and verify or validate is used to design or redesign a different process of product manufacturing or service delivery. So the first one basically looks at improving and and producing something better yet. The second one looks at redesigning the product. So this is the process of the Six Sigma business transformation, and we are going to zero to the design, measure, analyze, and improve and control methodology, because that is what is most used in in most of the medium enterprises. So it is a data-driven management process used to optimize and improve business processes. So here, like I mentioned, we define, we measure, analyze, improve, and control. So what involves at the defining step? So here we begin with a customer-centric approach where we define the problem from a customer perspective. Remember, the customer is the king. Then you set goals and what do you want to achieve and the resources you're going to need to achieve the goals. After you map your process and then work with the different stakeholders or to ensure that everyone is on the right track, then you measure. So here you look at the metrics of the project and the tools to be used in the measurement. So how can you improve? So you, in other words, here you quantify. So you measure your problem and quantify them. You define your yardstick or benchmark, which will be your dependent variable, and then evaluate the measurement system. So number 3, in the analysis stage, after you've measured, now you analyze the process to discover the influencing factors. Now these are the different solutions. So determine if your process is efficient and if effective. So does the process help to achieve what you need? And then quantify your goals in numbers. For instance, if you want to reduce defective goods by 20%, so identify the variations using the data. So in other words, you're measuring the influence of your suggested solutions to achieving your goals. So after you've done that, you improve. So this here you look at how the changes in your solutions will impact the ultimate goal. So this is where you identify how you can improve the process of implementation. So you identify the possible reasons and then test to identify which one influences more the desired goal. Then discover the relationships between the variables because or between the solutions. Some could be related, and then establish precise values of certain variables. So if some solutions need to be merged, that is when you merge. So number 5, we control. So this is the final phase, and here the performance objective is identified, and the major goal is to check whether it is well implemented, and therefore this is a stage where you validate the measurement system that is used. You establish the process capability, so you find out whether your goal is being met, and then you implement the process. So we have different techniques used when we use the Six Sigma methodology. And the first one is brainstorming. So here you brainstorm, you come up with different creative ways of solving a problem. Then the other technique is root cause analysis, or the 5 whys. So here you ask yourselves, why did the problem happen? why is it like this? So as you're asking that why, you're able to get the root cause. Then the voice of the customer. Remember, we are targeting or we are producing to sell to the customer. So it is always important to consider the voice of the customer in terms of uh, customer feedback. So you're supposed to get, you should be able to put up a system where you get feedback from your customers. Then we have the 5S. So these ones represent: you sort, you set in order, you make your solutions shine, you standardize, and then make sure you sustain them. So these ones evolved from Japanese words. I will not read them, but then it is basically aimed at removing waste and eliminating bottlenecks from inefficient tools or equipment or resources in the workplace. Then we have continuous improvement. It shouldn't be a one-time thing. You should keep on monitoring. You should keep on identifying and executing improvements. Then benchmarking. We don't know it all, so it's always good to employ a standard of measurement. So this involves making comparisons with either other businesses or even within the different departments of the business. Then mistake proving or pokayok. So this here we try to uh, come up with ways of preventing errors or chances of mistakes from occurring. Then value stream mapping. So here we look at the flow of materials from formation to design a future project. So this will help in removing waste and inefficiencies in the value stream to create a leaner operations. So still, I will emphasize that we look out for different types of waste and how to remove them. Thank you so much. Please stay safe.